Hello class, Chapter 2, Part B. In this case, I had the HB2, the House Bill 2, where it says a male has to use a male restroom and a female has to use a female restroom. In this case that I brought up was the transgender case. In this case, Gavin is 17 years old. She was born a female, but she identifies as a male. She's lived most of her teenage life as a male and truly feels that she is a male. In Colchester County school system, they brought up the case where she, or Gavin, he is using the male restroom, and some folks didn't like it. So it started going up through the channels and eventually got to the Supreme Court to decide, does the school system have to allow Gavin to use the male restroom, or must he use the female restroom? Gavin identifies as a male, so we will refer to him as a he from now on. So the argument was this violates the Title VI discrimination on basis of sex. Now they're saying that this is discrimination to not let him use the bathroom of his choice because it's covered under this title. However, the opposing side says the Title VI is not on identification. It's for based on sex, male or female, not which one you identify with. So this is the interesting argument between the two. It went to the Supreme Court, a 5-3 justice to remain that boys will use boys' restroom, females will use female restrooms. So that was the final decision handed down to the schools. The boys will use boys and females will use females. But here's the interesting part. They said it was temporary. So we had a judgment from our Supreme Court that they were so torn on this subject, they didn't know what to do, that they had a temporary decision handed down to the school systems. So that's how deep and interesting these cases were going. There were no fines and no money or anything like that involved. But I thought it was interesting that they had made a temporary decision on this, because Gavin, as far as anyone's concerned, is a male. Should he not have the right to use the male restroom? Now, for me, it doesn't matter to me if they want to use it or not. There's been plenty of times when there's a crowd of ladies at the restroom and one of them sinks into the male's restroom. Doesn't matter to me. However, it matters to a lot of people. The reverse, I think, is what everybody's scared of. You can't have a full-grown man into the restroom with little girls. You know, that's just wrong in most people's opinion, I believe. However, this young guy feels that he is a boy and identifies with that. And I think that's a whole lot different than saying sexual predators, just want to go into the women's restroom. This is different. And I think that's where the judgment comes in of, do they truly identify with that gender, or do they have an alternative notion? And that's our society as a whole. Every time someone comes into a convenience store, are we judging that person? Are we going to get robbed, or is he here to buy milk? We don't know that. And in Gavin's place, we don't know that either. He is just trying to use the restroom that he is more comfortable with. I wouldn't want anyone saying that people with blue eyes can't go into a certain store. And I think that it comes down to that same decision. I don't think it should be that big a deal. And furthermore, I think transgender folks has been using the restroom of their choice for many, many years. It's just it hasn't came up in this hot debated political environment. So if they would just choose the one they want to go to, I don't think a whole lot would be said about it. But when our politicians and our media get involved with it, things like this blow up and get out of hand. So right now, Gavin cannot use the restroom that he's comfortable with. So he's got to go into another restroom, unless he can find a private one, with people that he feels uncomfortable with. So regardless of bodily equipment, he don't feel like he's a girl. So I think we should have the choice to use what restroom that we feel comfortable with, and you can use stalls. There's still privacy in there too. So very hotly contested debate here, but I thought that was just really fascinating that our Supreme Court made a temporary decision. Wow. So if you have any questions or comments on that, please let me know. I'll try to get them answered. Thank you, class.